Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Councillor Laura Binks, Mayor of Strathbogie Shire Council. I would like to welcome you to this extraordinary council meeting of 23rd of May 2023. We acknowledge and pay respects to the traditional custodians of the places we live, work and play. We recognise and respect the enduring relationship they have with their lands and waters, and we pay respects to the elders past and present. Today we're meeting on the lands of the Taungurung people of the Eastern Kulin Nation, whose sovereignty here has never been ceded. This meeting is being streamed live via our council website and made available for public access on our website, along with official minutes of this meeting. All care is taken to maintain your privacy. However, as a visitor in the public gallery, it is assumed that your consent is given in the event that your image is broadcast to the public. It is also assumed that your consent is given for the use and disclosure of any information that you share at this meeting, including personal and sensitive information, to any person who accesses these recordings or minutes. Council considers that the recommendations contained in this agenda gives effect to the overarching governance principles stated in Section 9(2) of the Local Government Act 2020. These principles are numbered 1 to 9 on pages 2 of the agenda. We welcome people to our public gallery. However, there's no one here today, but also those viewing this meeting through our live stream via our website. This meeting is being held in accordance with Strathbogie Shire's governance rules. If we have any technical difficulties during today's meeting, which means we are unable to stream the proceedings to the public, we will continue with the meeting given that the public gallery is open. Voting by councillors at today's meeting will be held by a show of hands. If a councillor has a conflict of interest in a matter, they will be asked to leave the meeting and no discussion on the matter will commence until we are sure that they have done so. The same applies for our officers. And the person will then be contacted to rejoin the meeting after the matter has been considered and the vote concluded. CEO Solomon, are there any apologies for today?
Thank you, and through you, Mayor, no, there are no apologies for this afternoon's meeting.
Councillors and officers, are there any disclosures of conflicts of interest to be made under Rule 94 of our Governance Rules and Division 2 of the Local Government Act 2020? CEO Solomon.
Thank you, and through you, Mayor, I have a material interest in item 7.6.1 as it relates to my performance and remuneration. Thank you.
Thank you, CEO Solomon. Are there any other conflicts of interest to disclose? No? Okay, if not, councillors will move on to the report. So we move to page 5 of our agenda today, item 7.3.1, tender for contract number 22-23-40, flood damage repairs to Strathbogie Shire assets. Director Adamak, may we have a summary of the report, please?
Through you, Mayor. Thank you, Mayor. After the October 2022 flood event, which had a major impact on several Strathbogie Shire civic assets, McLaren's, who are the Shire insurers, were instructed to commence evaluation of damage sustained to the Shire civic assets. McLaren's engaged Tango Projects to undertake an assessment of rectification works required at the identified impacted locations. This assessment included, but was not limited to, the development of the scope of rectification works required at the respective locations, liaise with Shire officers to ensure all aspects of the rectification works were captured, preparation of tender documentation, tender works, undertake comprehensive tender evaluation and appoint a successful tenderer. There is a recommendation on page 5 for your consideration, please.
Thank you, Director Adamak. Councillors, are there any questions of clarification for the officer regarding this item? Councillor Murray?
Can I ask a question about the timeline for these rectification works? They're beginning in June, I see. Is there any idea of when we might be able to see a completion of these particular works?
Through you, Mayor. Thank you. I'll need to get back to you. I'll need to take that on notice, but the works, there is a start and finish date on that. There is a start and finish date, but I'll have to get back to you. Given that one company's doing all the work, there is a start and finish date.
Thank you, Director Adamak. I believe CEO Solomon has some further information.
Thank you. And through you, Mayor, we understand it's anticipated, we've been advised by the company that it's anticipated completion date by the September 2023.
Thank you, CEO Solomon. Councillor Rayburn.
Yes, through you, Mayor. Director, I was just clarifying the items which have been put on page 6 are the rower bowling clubs and all those. And again, are there any other buildings need rectification due to the floods, or is this the only ones?
Through you, Mayor, yes, there are quite a few other buildings that will be coming on a separate item soon.
Thank you, Director Adamak. Are there any further questions or clarification? If not, councillors, can I have a motion, please, and can you state what your motion is? Councillor Murray?
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to move the recommendation that's listed on page 5 of our agenda, please, for adoption.
Thank you, Councillor Murray. Do I have a seconder for the motion? Councillor Dickinson. Thank you, Councillor Dickinson. Would you like to speak to the motion, Councillor Murray?
Just briefly to say this will be really welcome news by many people in our community who've been affected by the flood damage in terms of their recreational activities. Particularly this time of year when we're getting to the colder weather and people are sort of sitting outside and they can't use their clubhouses or facilities in that way. So I know that there are quite a few people who'll be very pleased to see this particular tender adopted or tender put out.
Thank you, Councillor Murray. Councillor Dickinson, would you like to speak? No. Would any other councillor like to speak to the motion? No. If not, councillors, I'll put the motion to a vote. Can I see a show of hands? All those in favour, please. And against, and declare that carried. Thank you, councillors. Now, due to declaring a interest in this item, the Chief Executive Officer was leaving the meeting. We're now at page 9 of the agenda, item 7.6.1. And I'll just wait for the Chief Executive Officer to leave the meeting. So I can confirm that she's left the meeting at 2:08 p.m. So this refers to agenda item 7.6.1, Chief Executive Officer Performance Review, 15th of March 2022 to 14th of March 2023. And as the author of this report, I will be giving a summary to you today. So the Council appointed a Chief Executive Officer Employment and Remuneration Committee comprising of myself, Councillor Murray, Councillor Hourigan and Wendy Jones as our independent member to review, discuss and recommend to Council matters required by Section 44 of the Local Government Act 2020 in relation to the CEO, the Act and Council's policy, the Chief Executive Officer Employment and Remuneration Policy, and the parameters for assessing performance, contractual obligations and remuneration. The 12 months under review have presented numerous challenges, and the CEO has maintained a strong organisation and achieved significant results despite multiple obstacles. I think of note is obviously the coming out of COVID again. In that time period, in and out of COVID, we had various periods of working from home and remote meetings, including our council meetings. We then went kind of out of COVID and into the October flood event, which was a significant impact on the council and our Shire, particularly on our assets, which we've just dealt with in the previous item. And it was noted that the CEO led the organisation through that really challenging time exemplary, and presented a really strong response in the months afterwards in our flood recovery. It's noted that we're well into our flood recovery period, but we do note that this will take some years to complete. We were significantly impacted by those floods. However, it was noted that the organisation's pulling together in that flood response was really significant. Additionally, we've seen that the increases to inflation through the continuing rate rises for the central bank, and those impacts have not been we haven't been excluded from those impacts, I'd say, at council. And so managing a budget in quite a volatile and tricky financial landscape has been an additional challenge that we've seen. So there's the committee worked with the full council. We held 3 meetings with the full council. A total of 10 meetings were held with the committee, either meeting as a group, the 4 of us as a group. There were 3 performance reviews held with the CEO and 3 opportunities to discuss the performance and proposed KPIs for the following 12 months with the council. We also developed a really robust professional development plan, which hadn't been I guess a process of this committee or this council in the past. So I think it's exciting to see a far more thorough framework around both the key performance indicators, which are an attachment of this meeting, as well as a professional development plan for the CEO for the coming 12 months. So, councillors, there is a recommendation on page 9 of the agenda for your consideration. And do you have any questions of me? If not, councillors, can I have a motion, please, and can you state what your motion is? Councillor Hayes-Burke.
Can I please move the recommendation on page 9 of the agenda?
Thank you, Councillor Hayes-Burke. Is there a seconder for the motion? Councillor Murray. Thank you, Councillor Murray. Would you like to speak to the motion, Councillor Hayes-Burke?
Thank you, Mayor. Further to your talking points, which I wholeheartedly agree with, I think the CEO has performed extremely well when faced with such a challenging set of circumstances. And those factors that you raised really have led to a challenging landscape to navigate. And the CEO still managed to appropriately manage the budget and keep us in a financially stable position, achieve great outcomes for the community, execute the council plan and complete 20 mil in capital works. I'm also impressed with the recent staff culture survey results that were very positive, and I believe they speak to the CEO's leadership of this organisation. I'd like to also thank Wendy Jones, the independent member of the CEO's review panel, who has helped the panel fine-tune the process. And this is reflected in the new set of KPIs. And I hope that the professional development framework that I know Wendy was very influential in can help the CEO achieve their PD goals, which are tricky for any CEO given the hours that they work and the huge role that they have. Lastly, I'd like to also commend the Mayor on this process and for bringing it all to Council in a very professional and coherent manner. I also want to note that I think we're particularly lucky to have 2 very competent female leaders of this Shire. So thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Hayes-Burke. Councillor Murray, would you like to speak to the motion?
Oh, just to echo some of those comments that Councillor Hayes-Burke has mentioned, really. The annual performance review was a very positive one from Council, particularly considering some of the pressures that Councillor Hayes-Burke has mentioned and that you've mentioned yourself, and particularly considering some of the managing community expectations and council and staff management, I think, has been excellent. And also, I'd like to echo those comments about the independent member, Wendy Jones. I think she was a great asset, really, to the process and contributed a lot. And we were lucky to get somebody of that quality to offer to assist, which was terrific. The remuneration increase of 3.5 was well deserved, I think, and benchmarked against other councils, and was thoroughly appropriate for the sort of work that our CEO has to do. So thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Murray. Would any other councillor like to speak to the motion? No? If not, councillors, I should put a motion to the vote. Can I see a show of hands? All those in favour, please. And against? And declare that carried.
Please call a division, Mayor.
Yes, you can, Councillor Hayes-Burke. So can I get in favour? Councillor Rayburn, Councillor Hayes-Burke, Councillor Horrigan, Councillor Murray, Councillor Binks, and against Councillor Andrews and Councillor Dickinson. Thank you, councillors. We will now let the CEO know that she can rejoin the meeting. Thank you, Director Tingay. And I can confirm that the CEO has returned to the meeting at 2:16 p.m. Council will be holding an extraordinary council meeting on Tuesday, the 6th of June 2023 at the Euroa Community Conference Centre commencing at 2 p.m. The next monthly meeting of the Strathbogie Shire Council is scheduled to be held on Tuesday, the 20th of June 2023 at the Euroa Community Conference Centre commencing at 6 p.m. There being no further business, I declare that the meeting is closed at 2:16 p.m. Thank you and good afternoon.